Whip and Chat. It's my first one ever, so please be gentle. The point of a Whip and Chat is it's a work in progress, or I'm building boxes today. And you guys work along with whatever you're working along with. If you're doing customizing like me, then you do that. If you're even diamond painting, I know I have some diamond painters follow me, painting, sculpting, whatever you're doing, just do it along with me. I'll talk a little bit, tell you what's new with me, what's going on. Let me know what's going on with you guys in the comments below. A few little side notes here. I do have a fan. It's to my right, so if you hear some whirring, that's what's going on. I work on the 3rd floor, so it's very hot up here. And my wife told me to give this disclaimer. I have like 1,000 of black t-shirts, so she's like, you have a black t-shirt on in every video. You may want to let people know that you don't have just one black t-shirt. So I don't have just one black t-shirt. I have many. Also, she is downstairs right now. We just put the baby down for a nap, so she should be coming up. So if she comes up, and that's what's going on, she can join in the Whip and Chat if she would like. You know, chat it up. So what's going on with me? Well, let's see. Baby's supposed to have an endoscopy on Tuesday. She was born with something called laryngomalacia. Now they say she's outgrown that, but since then she does have some pretty bad reflux and everything going on, so she has to get that checked with the endoscopy. They're checking if she's allergic to anything. So the endoscopy is supposed to be happening Tuesday. We've been waiting for over a year for this, but with COVID and everything happening, they didn't want to do any deemed unnecessary procedures, which in defense, she does take reflux meds, 2 different kinds, that keeps her reflux under control. We've had to increase once or twice, not to ridiculous amounts, so it's one of those things where we understand that's not a necessarily deemed needed procedure. It's needed for us, but in the grand scheme of it all, it's not needed for everyone else. So we've been dealing with that. Now, so we were supposed to go see this is actually being recorded on Father's Day. So we were supposed to go see my dad today. Or I'm sorry, we were supposed to go see my dad yesterday. We were supposed to see her father today. My dad called me Friday, and he was like, hey, you guys are supposed to come out here tomorrow, right? And I said, yeah. And he goes, I'm really sick. Now, my dad did get his COVID shot, so he's pretty sure, his doctor he went to on Wednesday is pretty sure he doesn't have COVID. They think he just picked up a pretty nasty cold. He's been taking meds. My brother talked to him yesterday, said that he's feeling better. He sounded better when he talked to me on the phone. Apparently he was out running errands yesterday morning, so he is apparently feeling better. My dad lives on his own on a big farm, so we constantly worry about him. My parents got divorced 20 some years ago, maybe right around 20 years ago. So they both lived on their own for quite some time. My mom at least lives in a building with other people. My dad lives on his own on 13 acres of land, so we always have to kind of check up on my dad a little more than my mom. So he called me Friday, and I'm not feeling well. You guys may want to come out. He knows about Briar's compromised airway that she was born with, so we don't want to take any chances. So we go, okay, we totally understand. Well, we'll come out and see you next week, which is this week here. Because Briar's having a procedure. She doesn't have any of her classes this week. She has speech therapy and 2 other kinds of therapy. I'm not really sure what the other ones are called, but she has 3 classes. She has 2 a week. She does ice skating on Tuesdays. So, she's a busy little kid. She's 3.5, so she's busy in herself, much less, having other activities. So, we told my dad, we're like, well, we'll come out and see you this week. She doesn't have any classes for 2 or 3 weeks, so we'll definitely come out and see you soon. So he said, okay. So you know, we were like, all right, well, we're still going to go see Lindsay's parents today. Well, we were supposed to be there right now. So yesterday we get up and I check in on Briar every night before I go to bed. I won't be able to sleep, and it's been since she was a kid, knowing she has a breathing disorder. It's been since she was a kid where I can't sleep if I don't check on her because I worry. So except for when I was away with conference, when my old job was my job, this is my job now. When my old job was my job, we had a managers conference every year in August, September, that, you know, went everywhere from Vegas to Anaheim to Indianapolis to Nashville, which I don't know if you've ever been to Nashville or from Nashville, but that city smells like pee 100% of the time. I know, controversial as it sounds, but I mean, maybe it's because I was just there in August, September, but it smelled like pee everywhere. But that's not important. But I've checked on her every night of her life that I've ever been home. Sans one or two because I was sick, or if she was sick, because I didn't want to take a chance to woke her up, because I know a couple times she's had a RSV, so waking her up after it took her hours to fall asleep was not a good idea. But I would stare at the camera we have in a room until I saw her moving around. So it's just me, I worry. So I checked on her Friday night, and I could tell she sounded a little congested. Now, that could be a million different things, but I didn't really think much of it. So I went to bed. She was up pretty bright and early, like 6:45. We usually let her in her room till around 8 o'clock. Just to try to teach her, you know, you don't come out of your room until mommy and daddy are ready. That and daddy works till 1 a.m. doing this stuff, because I only work while she's sleeping. And so we get up. I usually am up when she's up. It's just kind of falling back asleep in 15-minute chunks until we get up at 8 o'clock to get her. But so we got up to get her, and she sounded awful. She was very congested. She very stuffy, snot flowing from her nose. So we're like, great. Especially because she has her procedure Tuesday that we've been waiting over a year for. Now, we called her doctor. Of course, it's a Saturday. Nobody's on call. I mean, people are on call, but it's not like the doctors we need to talk to. The doctor that we have our procedure through, even our pediatrician's office, isn't open. They have a nurse's line that you call. The nurse deems if it's an emergency or quasi-emergency, and then if not, they give the note to the physician on call, and then the physician on call will call you back. So he called us back, but that doesn't help us with our procedure. So we were kind of talking to him, and we're like, are they still going to do her procedure? And he was like, I have no way of knowing, you guys, but if she's congested and the procedure involves them going down her airway, which she can't breathe through her nose right now. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense that they're going to push this procedure back, which is fine. I'd rather have them push it back than do it when she's not ready or she's not well. So we're like, great. So we're kind of in the waiting or hold pattern now, because we're waiting for them to find out if we indeed have to wait. Hopefully not too long. We got her this morning. I made sure I got her, being as it's Father's Day. I just wanted to see her first thing in the morning. And she's still very congested. It's kind of crazy, though, because she's not running fever or anything. We gave her kitty Tylenol last night, so to help her, sleep a little bit. We also gave her a very hot bath. We put her in a steam shower yesterday for a little bit to help the congestion. But her mood or her playfulness is not gone. She is still as hyperactive and ready to go as she's always been. She goes with me. She went with me to make my boxes. So when I do this, I do two different steps. I do the actual cutting out of everything first, and then I do the actual putting together of the boxes. We're probably just going to get through the cutting out today. So, you know, don't be upset you didn't see a full box made. Although I do have a hyperlapse of my box making on my Instagram, which I will link down below. I don't know if I can put it in the eye. My wife will tell me that, but I will definitely link it down below if I can't put it in the eye. But yeah, she was still very congested today, and like I said, it hasn't slowed her down a tick. She went with me. My wife and her always, my wife and her go with me everywhere too when it involves my business. Because it is a family affair. It's our family business. You know, I may be the one doing 99.99999% of the work. If I do get a lot of boxes, like where I had that order of 20, Lindsay will help me. Which I'll link her down below too. Her YouTube channel. She does diamond painting, but she also does like reviews on things. She's a very crafty person. I'm an artistic person. There's a difference between the two. The stuff she does, there's no way I could do it. The stuff I do, I don't know. I don't want to say there's no way she could do it, but it's two different, you know, mindsets. I watch her diamond paint, and I'm like, there's no way, no way. When I do brush strokes, even if I'm doing small brush strokes, it's covering a pretty big amount in, you know, per brush stroke. Per brush stroke. Wow, why can't I say that together? While her diamond painting is literally like 3 tiny little dots put together. Then you load up, then you do it again. Then you load up, then you do it again. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of focus that I don't have. I'm decent with patience, but I have to see results or else I get a little bothered. I'm like, oh God, I've done nothing. I mean, I've had customs that I've put together where it's taken me, you know, I've had some where I've like, oh, this shouldn't take me, you know, I could dedicate this, my morning, or I guess my afternoon shift, which is now, usually go from like 2 to 4. I could dedicate my afternoon and my evening, and I'll be done with it by the end of the day. I can, you know, then put the sealant on it and everything like that. And then I have, sure enough, you know, after a day, I'm nowhere near done. And I'm like, what? And I feel like I didn't do anything. Most customs from beginning to end take me, I would say, anywhere between 4 to 6 hours. I don't include the boxes, time in developing the boxes, which takes me about 15-20 minutes per. And that's hoping people get me exactly what they need. I tell them I am not a graphic artist. So, send me the pictures you want on the boxes. In sans of, like these, I put those on. I have a photo light box. I'm sure you've seen it in my videos. That will, I take these pictures and I run them through a filter and they get a little cartoony. And that's what I do on the, boxes. But like the back photos, like that one, this one I actually did for her. It's in reverse. I have to change that eventually. But it says, Daddy, you are as smart as Iron Man, as mighty as Thor, as incredible as Hulk, as brave as Captain America, and as amazing as Spider-Man. You are my superhero. She sent me what she wanted, but it had like Lego figures in it. She's like, can I get this without the Lego figures? Now, I am not a graphic artist, like I stated. So I just did it real quick I use PixArt for a lot of my graphics on Instagram and everything. Some people like Canva. I've tried Canva. Maybe I have to try it a little more, but I prefer PixArt. I'm very accustomed to it. So, so I just did that real quick, and then they have stickers, and I use the stickers from PixArt for that stuff. So it was pretty quick. I can do basic stuff like that, but I had a woman message me about getting one of my digital comics made, which I'm actually shipping one of those off today or tomorrow. When it comes to sealing the figures, it can't be when it's super humid because the sealant it gets like tacky. It doesn't get dry. And I like to take 2 days to seal a figure. I usually like to do a quick coat. Then the second coat, I usually like to do a little bit longer, but not still a semi-quick coat. And then the third coat, which is about 6 to 8 hours later, I like to put on a little heavy, not ridiculously heavy, because you'll actually have buildup caused because of that. So, but if you do it when it's humid, and I've run into it a few times, it gets tacky. At that point, you actually have to strip the paint so it's not tacky, and then you have to repaint and then reseal. So I've learned my lesson. I think I've had 2 or 3 that happened to, and it takes me longer to redo one little patch than it does to pretty much do a figure, because you don't want to have to strip the whole thing. So you're working in a very exact area, very little part of it, and then that's when you have to, it's just a pain. So it was hella humid yesterday, so I didn't do any sealing. It feels pretty humid today, but I have to actually check the weather. As long as it's not over 50% humidity, I can do the sealing. The problem I'm running into is today it's sticky, but like I said, I don't know if it's over 50%. Tomorrow it will be over 50% because it's supposed to be 95, humid and raining. Then Tuesday, it's supposed to be nice. It's supposed to be like 72. So I'm hoping that I can start the sealing process today, even if it's tonight, as long as the humidity drops to below, I say 50%, but I like to see it below 40%. And then it only takes about 20-30 minutes to dry to the touch. To completely dry the sealant, it takes about, I would say about 2 hours, because I'm not putting on really, really thick layers till the last one. So once the sealant dries, and then I can box everything up. So even if I finish cutting these boxes during this whip and chat, I don't have the figures sealed to box them up yet. So maybe I'll do another whip and chat and kind of show you guys that. I know I did a hyperlapse of just an hour's worth of my work. I may try to do a really fast hyperlapse of beginning to end of one of my pieces. We'll see. There's actually a pretty big piece I'm working on that's kind of the only person that knows about it is my wife. And another customizer I'm friends with, Mortem Customs, on Instagram. So I'll link him down below too. He does some pretty cool shit. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. He does like definitely off the wall, oddball, a lot of horror oriented, but it's really different stuff. So I'll link him down below too. But I told him about it just because some of the stuff I'm doing with it, I've never done before. I've only been customizing for a little over a year now. It's about 13 months. He's been doing it for, I believe, 3 or 4 years. And he does a lot of the 10-inch figures. Now, I've never done the 10-inch figures because making boxes for them, I don't even want to think about how big of a piece of paper and everything that would be, and the design process. I've just figured out how to start designing these size boxes very well over the last couple of months, so I don't want to go crazy. But I had some questions about some stuff that I know he's worked with that I hadn't, and but that's a big pop. I'll give you guys more of a hint about it, but I kind of want it to be one of those things where, you know, once everybody sees it, they're like, oh, that's awesome. So I really don't want to drop too many hints about it. It's been like 3 or 4 months in the making. Part of that is because the big order I had last month, where I had to get 20 figures done for, I had to get 20 figures done for a high school, or it was a middle school, I'm sorry, in California, Cucamonga, I'm not even sure. California. They didn't have graduation because of COVID, so they got money to give towards a graduation gift. So the woman contacted me, and she's like, "Hey, can you do 20?" And I'm like, "Ooh." I'm like, up to that, my biggest order was 5, and that was groomsmen sets. So I was like, you know, and then I had my full 6 to 8 weeks, which I'm pretty sure I only took 4 weeks to get those out to them. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, because I knew I'd be kicking myself if I said no. At the time, I only had like 4 or 5 orders. So I knew if I said no to that, I wouldn't get any more orders, because that's the way life works. Or if I said yes to that, I would then continue getting more orders, which is what happened. But I said, yeah, sure. Like, when do you need them by? And she's like, well, I need them to me by June 7th. This was like May 2nd, she messaged me. And I was like, June 2nd. She's like, yeah. I'm like, oof. Well, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'll do it. I'll get it done. I'll get it out to you by June 2nd. She's like, okay. So she's like, well, I just need approval from the principal. Once he gives his approval, I'll send the money to you. I said, okay. So I put a listing on my Etsy. I usually only keep 2 or 3 active on my Etsy. I made it 23 because I knew she was placing an order of 20. About 45 minutes later, this order comes through of $20. I immediately order everything I need off Amazon, off eBay. She was awesome to work with. She was very understanding. She didn't pressure me. She wasn't like every 5 minutes being like, where you at? Are you done? I think she sent me all the stuff I needed for the boxes, like immediately. Pictures of all the students, and so I knew what they looked like. Names of all the students, and then also the school logo, so I could put that on the box. So she was very, very good with that stuff. I have customers, and I've had a few. I mean, I'm very easy to work with. You tell me what you want. So, like, they wanted the cowboy symbols. Okay. You know, they sent me this one, and I was like, well, do you want a cowboy symbol on the back, too? They're like, yeah. So, okay. They want a happy birthday? Okay. The name they wanted on it? Okay. You know, I can do all that. So, very simple. You know, color scheme that you want. If you just say you want a happy birthday, I'll find a little sticker that looks, you know, something different. But I've had people, I had a woman order one for her husband, and first of all, I've had a lot of people order and not tell me what they want. Literally, they place the order, and I'm like, I didn't talk to this person yet. And I message them, and sometimes it takes days. This woman, she ordered it. I messaged her like within 10 minutes of her ordering. She didn't get back to me. I'm like, okay. So I messaged her a couple days later. Didn't get back to me. Messaged her 3 weeks went by. Now, at that point, I had a 4 to 6 week turnaround. So I messaged her, and I was like, look, I was like, you haven't told me what you want, who you want, how you want it done. I'm like, and at the time, my listing had a picture of my friend Tom that I did for his wife for his 40th birthday as my custom pop. And I said, if you don't get back to me by the, you know, in the next 48 hours, I have to start so I can meet my turnaround time. I'm like, I'm just going to make one of Tom and send it to you. I'm like, because I'm not going to not fill an order. You know, especially because I'm doing the right thing. I'm messaging you every other day, and, you know, you're not getting back to me. So, within a day or two, she gets back to me, and she's like, oh, well, I'm so sorry, I wasn't getting the messages, which, if you're spending, you know, $100+ on something, why wouldn't you, and it's customized, why wouldn't you think you need to message me? I don't know your husband. So she's like, well, okay, here's pictures of my husband. So she sends me like 4 or 5 pictures, which is a good amount. I can work off of something. And then I always ask, well, what do you want on them? Do you want t-shirt? Do you want shorts? Do you want pants? You know, I can be pretty good with whatever you want. I'll figure it out. I mean, this guy is a hoodie, and I don't even know the paperboy cap kind of hats. I can pretty much make anything work here. So she's like, oh, just a t-shirt and pant and jeans, and I forget what she wanted on the t-shirt. It was something super simple, though. And I was like, yeah, I can absolutely do that. And then, like, I had one more question, and she didn't reply. So then I sent the same question a couple days later. Didn't reply. So I go, okay, I think it was the color of the shoes. What color shoes do you want? Because I've had people ask for Yeezys, Jordans, and I do the best I can. I mean, you got to figure I'm working with tiny, tiny feet. I mean, tiny, tiny feet. I mean, look at my hands and how small these feet are. So, I mean, like, I do the best I can to make it look like a Jordan or a Yeezy, which I've had people be like, oh my God, that's awesome. So, detail is very important to me. So, you know, and so I'm like, all right, she's just getting black shoes on her husband. Like, it's what Matt, the shirt was black, he had blue jeans on, so I go, all right, I'm just going to do black shoes. So then she finally gets back to me, and we're talking like I had 10 days to ship it at this point. And I'm pretty much done. In fact, I am done. I'm pretty sure I started sealing it. And she gets back to me. She's like, oh, can I get his shoes? And it wasn't black. I think it was gray. And I said to her, I go, ma'am, I'm like, I have 10 days to get this to you. And I'm like, I still have to do the box. I'm like, I did his shoes in black. I'm like, I was honestly just going to start the box until you just messaged me. I was like, so what do you want on the box? She never got back to me. Ever. I literally had designed a box, and I go, okay, I'm going to get this printed. I go to Staples to print my boxes. So I said to her, I was like, I had a box design, just a regular old box, you know, with his name on it, and like, I think it was like Best Dad or something, and like colors, like it was off the information I was given, which was next to nothing. His name, and I think it was a Star Wars design on his shirt. So I made it kind of Star Wars themed, and she just never got back to me. So I was like, all right. So I gave it till the final day before I had to ship it. She didn't get back to me, so I went to Staples, got the box printed. We're talking 10 days, multiple messages. So I went to the Staples, got the box printed, cut the box up like I am now, and she never got back to me. So I mailed her exactly what she had helped me not participate in making. So, which I know people get busy. I had one guy message me, and he was like, hey, can you make one of these for me? Okay. So I'm like, who do you want? So he sends me 2 pictures. And he goes, either one of these. And I go, either one. Dealer's choice. You don't care as long as it gets me. And he's like, yep, I don't care. So it was 2 guys. One was, they're both in drag. So I was like, yeah, I'm like, I can easily do those for you. I'm like, and you don't care which one? He goes, no, I don't care which one. And I said, okay. So, I was like, okay. And then I was like, please send me, I'm going to do this one. So I let him know which one I was going to do. And I'm like, I just need additional pictures of the hairstyle. Because he had like kind of like a mohawk thing going on, but I didn't know if it was a full mohawk, if it was just a puffed in the front. You really couldn't tell by the pictures. So he gets back to me a few days later with the pics. I'm like, okay, so, you know, I did what I do. And I start doing it. And so I send them a message. I'm like, I need the information for the box. I always let them know ahead of time, but I say, I'll let you know about a week before I'm done to get me the info on the box. That way we're good. So I send the info for the box, and a couple days go by, and he messaged, you know, I send it again. Now I'm still about 3 weeks ahead of schedule, so I'm not really that concerned. And I'm like, okay, well then he gets pushed off to the next time I work on boxes, because I usually do my customs in batches. This one's a batch of 5, you know, orders, and then I made 3 for my Etsy shop. So I'm like, he'll just get pushed back to the next batch. You know, I'm still going to be on timeline. It's just he won't get it as quickly. So, you know, I sent him a couple more messages. Finally, you know, probably almost 2 weeks goes by, and he gets back to me. 2 weeks from my original message. So I still have about 2 weeks to finish his custom. And he gets back to me. He goes, hey, both my parents got COVID, and I've been at the hospital. I'm sorry I haven't got back to you. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. And he goes, yeah, he's like, so I have a question for you. I'm like, yeah, what's up? He goes, any chance you could do the other one? And I'm like, the other one in addition to the one I did, or the other one instead of the other one I did? And he goes, instead of. And I'm like, no. I'm like, I already completed your pop. The only thing I'm waiting on is the box info, man. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, you said dealer's choice. I let you know which one I was doing, and you were cool with it. And, you know, I'm like, so then he was real pissy about getting me the box info, which he did, but he wasn't happy about it, because the one pop was him, and the other pop was his friend. So, but he didn't tell me who was who. I just picked the one. You know, it was 2 different ones. I just picked the one because I was like, I'll do this one. You know, it didn't really have a preference to me, but I was like, I'll do this one. So he was kind of pissy at that point. Oh, I can't. And I'm like, you sent me both. I'm like, if you want to do another order, I'm like, I'll do the other one. I'm like, but I'm not doing it instead of. It's already done. So, I sent it out to him. He never did a review or anything. So, I mean, it is what it is, but still, like, you know, like, you can't message somebody when they tell you they're done and say, can you completely change what you just did? Especially customized stuff. You can't, you know. It's like saying you want a red car, so you order a red car, you get the red, or they have the red car ready to go for you, and then you go, hey, I actually wanted, instead of the red car, I'll take a blue truck. Like, you can't do that. But, you know, some people don't realize that stuff. Yeah, so, I mean, now, I've had a few interesting customers. We'll say for the most part, all my customers have been pretty baller. Like, they've been pretty awesome. I get super excited when they get super excited. I had one girl, she ordered one of my Chester Bennington pops that's in my shop. I've done probably 4 or 5 of them now, but I have it as one of my always, you can pre-order it, so you order it. And then usually it takes about 4 weeks because I already have the stuff on hand for it. It takes about 4 weeks, and then I send it out to you. I let you choose how you want his hair. If you want a shirt on, shirt off. You know, basically it's a little customizable on top of being a custom itself. So I also do that with my Joker. That my Joker one's insane, and you know, I said to my wife, I'm like, I should just make like a fleet of those, like 10 of them, and put them up. But I know what happened. I wouldn't sell them then. But literally, I've done 5 Jokers, and I don't think any of them have made it to my Etsy shop. Maybe one has. But I put them up on Instagram, and I have people messaging me instantly. I'll take it. So, which I do all my sales now through my Etsy shop. I don't do them on Instagram anymore. When I got my taxes done this year, the guy told me, look, stick through one medium. Don't do multiple mediums. He's like, when it comes to getting your taxes done, it's going to be a pain in your butt. More W-2s means more trouble. So I was like, okay. So I'm just doing it 100% through Etsy now. Which doesn't mean I won't have a W-2 through eBay or PayPal, but at least won't be as much. Plus my itemized expenses, it makes it easier. So, I don't even know what I was talking about now. Oh, my Joker pops, yeah. So those sell out instantly. But I know if I made like 10 of them, they would just sit on my shelf. But that's another one too. I have pre-order that I can literally, like somebody orders it, I can start it tomorrow. I've had one person, it's weird, I've had one person order it since I've done the pre-order. And I got it to them, they loved it, they left me feedback. I've had about 10 people message me and go, hey, is this already done or is it a pre-order? Which, it says pre-order, but, you know, I take it, you know, as it is. So I go, it's a pre-order, and they go, well, how long does it take? Now, it also tells you that on my Etsy, so I go, it says 6 to 8 weeks. I go, but most get out in 3 to 4. Oh, okay. I'll check back when you have it finished. And then I let them know that's not how it works. I go, I take enough orders with customs that I only do those now by order. I go, that Chester Bennington, and I believe Fred Durst I have on there, which actually I've only ever sold one Fred Durst, but it was a fun piece to do. I'm a big Limp Bizkit fan, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to put it on as one of my pre-orders at all times. So I have it on there. But I think those are the only 3 I have up there that are pre-orders. Depending how this one does, Nico from Grand Theft Auto 4, I may put that up. It's a pretty simple piece for me to do, and it's fun, and it looks cool. So I was pretty jazzed by doing this. So I may put this one up. If it sells fast, I may just do pre-orders for this one too, just to see how that works. I don't mind doing the pre-order thing, but I've seen other customizers that I'm friends with do, hey, I'm doing this one, I'm taking 10 pre-orders, you know, first 10 people that pay get it. And like, you know, I would love to do that, but then I see them also posting 3 weeks later, hey, still taking 10 pre-orders on this, anybody who wants it, you know. And I often worry, like, I could do that, but then I'm literally stuck if nobody pre-ordered it. You know, like, I bought all these supplies to make these and nobody pre-ordered it. So I would love to be at that level, but I'm not quite there yet. So we'll see. Maybe one day. So we've been going for about a half hour now. I was curious how long we've been going. So maybe one day I'll get to that point where I can, you know, do 4 or 5 customs a month. Kind of just open up spots, you know, first come, first serve, and then do, you know, just pre-orders. I would love that, just because, I mean, while, you know, I like the difference of doing Joe Smith and Jane Doe, you know, different pops for different people, I also like the idea of being able to order everything I need at one time, and kind of not like conveyor belting it, you know. So when I do pops, like, or when I do customs, of course I do pops. When I do customs, I tend to do them in different spurts. So what I do first, and I actually have a few up here. What I do first is so this is one. You can see he's missing an arm. Oh my god. I had to take the arm off for reasons. And then I put the Sculpey on them, which it looks awful, but it's actually smooth. That's what paint does. And then I do the sculpting first. I take apart what I need to do, do the sculpting first on everything. So the next 5 I'm doing, which I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next 5 I'm doing, I do all that first. So now they're all done sculpting. I harden the Sculpey. The next thing I do is the paint. So I do the paint on the next 10, or next 5, and then after I'm done with the paint, then I go through and do touch-ups on all of them if they need touch-ups, which I always go through and just inspect to make sure I didn't miss any spots, which always do. You always miss a patch of, the biggest one for me is, and I don't know why it always happens, but blue jeans for some reason. Like, I paint blue jeans, and I paint them, and I'm 99% sure, I should say 100% sure that it's covered. And then I go back and look over them, and there's like big spots missing. And I'm like, what the hell? How did I miss that? So I always go through and, you know, double check them. And then after that, then I do the sealing. And then after the sealing, well, as you can see, I box them up and send them off. Which my process has become a lot more streamlined since I've been doing smart things. Which some of the things I've been doing is I've actually been bought a machine that does my weighing and my shipping. So the upfront cost was more, still not bad. The upfront cost was, you know, whatever, like $220 for the machine and the scale. And then I just print my shipping off immediately and box it up and send it off. Now, doing that, I found out that it's cheaper than going into UPS or USPS and buying the postage. It's about 10 to 15% cheaper, sometimes more. Buying the postage and, you know, doing that. So, you know, yes, the upfront cost was more, but I've done this for the last 3 months, so I've saved quite a bit. And that's been better for me. I also buy all my boxes through Uline. I used to go to Staples when I get my boxes made and buy boxes right then. The boxes are about $1 a piece, and that's 12 by 9, 12 by 9 by 12 by 9 by 9, I believe. So the box I buy, my boxes I buy through Uline, I get bundles of 25 for $21, and they deliver them directly to my house. Now, you know, that's only savings, what, 20 cents a box? So that doesn't sound that big, but I also get my boxes 8 by 8 by 8. So instead of having to fill a void that's 12 by 9 by 9, I'm filling a box that's 8 by 8 by 8. And the bags of packing peanuts, which I prefer over anything else just because it holds and secures things better, takes shock much better. The bags of those, it's about a 5-foot tall bag, and it's $40 at UPS store. So I used to fill, I think it was 24 boxes roughly with one of those bags. I can fill 42 of them now with those bags. So while yes, my boxes are only 20 cents cheaper per, I'm using much less styrofoam, which is saving the environment. I mean, I'm using the same amount of styrofoam, just less per box. Saving the environment and saving money. So both things I'm all cool with. So I've streamlined that. I mean, there's not a whole lot left for me to streamline. I have my own shipping area up here. We recently cleaned out our garage. I mean, we still have to go through and clean more of it out. But that's where I do all my sealing. So I bought a table so I can do. Right now we have a deep freezer, so I'm doing the ceiling on a piece of cardboard on top of that. We don't use our garage currently for cars. We need to, but we had a old car that was in the way that we finally got rid of. So that wasn't running, so now that's free. So we'll eventually put a car in there, but right now we just need to work on cleaning it out. That's kind of where we put stuff. We moved in here about 4 years ago in September. That's kind of where we put stuff when we moved, that we're like, we don't need to worry about this right now. So getting around to that stuff now is kind of weird. But or even as we were going along and getting stuff, you know, when you have a kid, if you have kids, like you're like, oh crap, I need just get rid of this for right now, and then you put it out in the garage. And then when you start to clean out your garage, you're like, oh my god, I was looking for this for the last 3 years and I couldn't find it. Well, that's why. So, but I want to put a table in there to do my ceiling. I'm also thinking, I don't think I will, but I was thinking about moving my shipping down there. But we'll see. We need to put a car in there, either or probably Lindsay's car, because that's the one the baby rides in 99% of the time. So it'll probably be Lindsay's car. I mean, right now it's not bad because it's spring, summertime, fall. But once you get into winter for Pennsylvania, you can get a foot of snow or you can get an inch of snow. And plus with it being super cold and stuff like that, I prefer not to have to take the baby out and that stuff. So, but yeah. But this piece right here, that last Nico Bellic, this one and my next one are all from the show Invincible, which is on Amazon Plus, Amazon Prime, Amazon something. Who knows what they're called anymore. But I was told to watch this from a friend. Now, I don't watch any kind of anime. It's not that I have anything against it. It's just I've tried a few of them. I can't get into them. And the one I watched that I liked, and it's stupid because everybody makes fun of it, is High School of the Dead. I found it entertaining. Basically, I'm a huge fan of zombie stuff, so it kind of made sense. But, you know, and I just never got into anime. I don't know why. I just never did. I like horror, and I was told there's not a whole lot of horror anime, so I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, so, but I was told, my friend's like, watch Invincible. Just trust me, watch Invincible. He's like, do you like The Boys? And I'm like, yeah, I like The Boys. And he goes, all right. He goes, watch Invincible. He goes, it's like kind of cartoon version of The Boys, you know. He's like super violent, you know. I think you'll like it. Now, he's told me to watch things before that I liked or didn't like, but, you know, I'll give it a shot. I'll give everything a shot. So I watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm like, this is pretty good. I could get into this. And then I watched, like, the next, let's say there's 10 episodes in the season, 8 episodes in the season, whatever it is. It's not crazy long episodes. They're like a half hour, 45 minutes maybe. But it was a cool little way of, like, superheroes being done. So I watched, like, the rest of the episodes in, like, 2 days. Because it was just one of those things where I couldn't stop watching it. So I was like, wow, that show is great. And then, I was like, man, there's no pops of them. And they have nothing on the horizon coming out. So I'm like, well, let me see how hard it would be to make a pop. So I was like, I'll do Invincible and Omni-Man, which if you watch a show, they're the 2 biggest characters in it. Invincible is the main character, and Omni-Man is actually his father. No spoiler alerts. That's kind of known from the jump that Omni-Man is his father. So it's not like the whole Star Wars Luke and Vader thing. Sorry if that was a spoiler for you guys. It's only 2 decades, 3 decades, 4 decades in the making. Yeah, so they're the 2 main characters, and the story behind it's really cool. Twists, turns, betrayal, like it's so good. But they're the 2 main characters, and I was like, you know what? Let me make these. I'll give it a shot. If they suck, they suck. If they're great, they're great. If they're okay, they're okay. You know, whatever. At least I tried. I've tried plenty of customs before that I sucked, and they never ended up fully made. Now, whether I could have salvaged it, I don't know. But at the time, they sucked, and I was like, I'm not investing my time in it. So I made Invincible first, and I liked it. I didn't love it, but I did like it. People have told me it's great, but, you know, I'm one of those people that I am my harshest critic. So I was like, all right, I'm going to make Omni-Man too. I'm just going to do it. So I did it. And my Omni-Man, in my opinion, is the best pop I've ever made. I made him in the show. Even if you don't watch the show, he's pretty much Superman or Homelander. You know, I'd say more Homelander than Superman, but he is like invincible. Or this is invincible, but he's, you know what I'm saying. But he like cannot be beaten. He's the strongest being ever, you know, kind of thing. And Invincible is his son, but he kind of has Superman's backstory, but Homelander's attitude. But he just can't be beaten up. But in the show, like, he does do some fighting, and you know, he does get beat up. So that's which I'll try to remember to put a picture of it in here. You know, if you guys look up in time, I'll put a picture of it in there so you can see it. This is what the box looks like, though. One of the biggest scenes in the show was, this is one near the end, and he's saying, "Thank Mark," but I'll let you guys watch the show. I'm not going to explain that part to you. So, yeah, so I was like, let me do some Invincible pops. So here's one of the things. I don't know if you took notice, most of my boxes were white. 5 of the 8 were, or light colored, the yellow, and then that light green, the money green color. So when you get to darker colors, I'm sure you can see that there's black lines. They may actually be easier to see in camera than they are on this. So anytime a dark color, red or even darker, is done, these black lines become very hard to see. I hate it. So I don't necessarily offer to customers that I do different color boxes. I ask them what color scheme they want, and then I usually go, oh, white box with, you know, blue, green, and, you know, red. And they're like, yeah. So just because white boxes are so much easier for me to do. Now, I don't mind doing them, but it's just more of a tedious process. It's not that I would say I pay more attention. It's just more prone to error if I use darker colored boxes. So that's what so this one I decided, since it's Omni-Man, the show is super violent, and there's blood throughout. I mean, as you can tell by the picture I showed you of one of the scenes at the end, there's blood all over him, blood all over Invincible, and I also used the blood splattered Invincible symbol here for the box. So I was like, you know what, let me do a red color. I didn't want to do a blood red because then it'd be too hard to see, so I used the Omni-Man red color. So, you know, I thought it'd be cool, you know, doing Omni-Man in the red and the Invincible in the yellow. But yeah, I hate darker colored boxes. They're just harder to do. That, and when I fold them, so I know you see me using my scissors. Duh. This is a scissors, in case anybody was wondering what I'm using. This is a normal size scissors. I just have giant hands. No, this is mini scissors. But I do have giant hands. It took me like 6 mini scissors to find ones that actually fit well. So I cut them out with this first. And regular size scissors, the quartering on them isn't great. So I don't like using them on this. So I feel like I could do this part in my sleep just because I've done it so much. I mean, I'm probably closer to 220 customs now. I lost track at like 198, and that was a while ago. So I've sold over 200 now. there's a few I haven't sold, mostly my original ones. Which, if you watch my videos, you'll see a monster from Masked Singer behind me, and Jesse Lacey from Brand New. Those are two of my first three. The first one I ever did was Joe Exotic. I still have that one here. Give me a second, I'll pull it down. It's right next to me. But like Scrooge McDuck has his Lucky Dime, I have my Joe Exotic pop that I will not sell. It is my number one. Am I still a huge fan of Tiger King? Yes. Tiger King is kind of like Nickelback. Like, you don't want to admit to people you like it anymore because it's not cool anymore, but you know what? You still loved it. If you watched it, you loved it, and you'd watch it again, and if they had a sequel detailing more, you'd probably watch that too. Don't lie to yourself or me. Yeah, so, but yeah, that was my number one. So, this is my Joe Exotic. I created a box for it fairly recently. Like recently as in like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I just never had it in a box. I never bothered making a box because I wasn't going to sell it, so why make a box for it? But I was like, you know what, let me make a box for it, because, and I'll show you why, but as you can see, I put the little tiger stripes everywhere, picture of Joe on the back, and then I did the exotic in the rainbow. My friend at Kevin's Kreations, which I'll link them also, he does crazy ass woodwork. Like, he does diamond painting pens, but he does a little bit of everything. He is very, very talented. But I'll link him. Check him out. Give him a like on Instagram. And actually, he has a YouTube channel also where he shows how he does his work. So check him out. But he built this plate for me. He knew how big a box of pop was. He did this copper plate for me and wrote DaddaMonster on it. So that sits up on my little shelf over here where I put my pops that I'm working on the shelf. So it's my number one. It's my Scrooge McDuck Lucky Dime. But so that's, you know, but you'll be able to see the monster and the Jesse Lacey behind me. The next one I did when I started was Eminem. I sold that one. I made Edward Norton's character from American History X, which I actually have never posted anywhere. I was kind of worried the backlash it would get me from posting it. And let me say this very loud and clear. I in no way endorse anti-Semitic behavior or skinheads or Proud Boys or whatever they want to call themselves. But that movie was very powerful, and the big point of that movie was he realized how wrong he was and wanted to change his life and wanted to change things and didn't want his brother to fall into those footsteps. So that was kind of the point of it, not anything to do with being a fan of skinheads or anything like that. But I still didn't want the backlash. I wanted nothing to do with it. So I posted it on my eBay. I blurred out I did the curb stomping Edward Norton. So you could see the swastikas on his chest, on his arms, Aryan symbols, everything like that. I put all the tattoos on him, but I blurred them out for eBay. I sold it on eBay. I never put my business card in it. I did it with all good intentions, but when it came down to me posting it or doing it, I was like, I can't. I can't, because I am a business, and I don't want people to be able to go back and say, oh, he did a character with a swastika on him. Well, yeah, I did, but it had nothing to do with the swastika. It had everything to do with the character in the movie. But I know how people think, so I didn't want anybody to take that the wrong way. If you've made it this far, let me know what you think of American History X, or how you would have felt if I would have posted something like that. Was I thinking too much, or was I pretty much in the right to do what I did? So then what I do after I'm done cutting the scissors, as you can see, I had to go back over with the scissors because it's not as easy to see the black lines. This is where it gets super difficult with dark colored boxes, because you have to get the light exactly right. But I have an X-Acto knife, so I have two different X-Acto knives. I have this one, $5 Walmart special, and I have this one, which was actually given to me by Matt and Steph over at Lazy River. So I use this one for my sculpting purposes, for my sculpting and my trimming of plastic. it has the bigger handle, therefore I get more leverage and I can be a little more exact. This one, I only have to change the blade like once every couple of months because I only use it for this stuff. So I find this one's I can be a little more exacto with. So, but yeah, the red boxes, man, or any dark color boxes. And the first time I found that out was I did an Always Sunny set, which I sold. This before Funko actually brought them out. I did my Always Sunny set, had them done, and then like 2 weeks later, Funko announced they were doing them. And then like 2 weeks after that, they're out in stores, and I'm like, well, fuck me. So I had to lower the price of mine to pretty much cost, just because I didn't want them sitting in my inventory, taking up space. I mean, I made some profit on them, but not what I would have liked. But you know, sometimes that's what happens. So that's what I did with. But those were dark gray, like dark gray. And I was like doing the boxes, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like these are impossible to see." See, like now I'm running into a lighting issue, so I have to kind of guess and look. I did that all right. But, and I'll tell you another reason I don't like the dark boxes. But so yeah, it was 5 of those boxes, and I was like, "Son of a gun!" Like and I mean that was early. That was probably like bunches of the first 50 I did, so it's not like I had a ton of experience like I do now. It was just rough, but I ended up doing it, got it done, and I'm like, all right, cool, Brian, just keep to yourself. You do not like doing dark colors. It makes sense. I'm sure there's a way in Photoshop to change the color of the lines. I'm not tech savvy, so I figured out how to make boxes. I figured out how to do cool things with the boxes, like put these as pictures rather than just blank colors. So, I mean, I figured out how to do enough cool stuff with boxes where I'm good right now. But then Photoshop keeps doing updates. And, yeah. They keep moving stuff around on me or changing my settings. So, if you know somebody that is a developer for Photoshop, tell them stop doing that shit. Alright? And tell them DaddaMonster sent you. But, yeah, so that's, kind of why I hate dark colors. Darkish colors. They don't reflect the black, so it's hard to see it. Because I am right-handed, so my hands always, and then I use a butter knife too. So what the butter knife does is it trace over the black lines, so that when I go to fold them, they are already creased. So that way they are easier to fold. Makes sense, right? Yeah. I didn't think about that when I first started, so I used to sit here and try to get exact and fold them and stuff like that. And I'm part of a page on Facebook for customizers. And somebody said something the one day. They're like, pretty much exactly what I was thinking. Man, how do you guys fold your boxes? Like, I find such trouble in, getting exact. And I'm always worried. I used to print 2 of every box just in case I'd screw something up. Whether it's arrogance, but I don't print 2 anymore. I print 1. I've had to go through and reprint, but that was my own fault, not folding. It was one person, so my template has something completely different saved here as a name. I left that instead of the person's name. And the other one, I misspelled something. So those are both idiot problems, not problems with the folding or anything. But yeah, so that's all right, guys. So that was pretty quick and painless, right? That was 58 minutes. WIP and Chat's supposed to be in about an hour, so I'm really happy we got this done. Just kind of show you quickly what happens then. This is actually a dude that has a musical group. I did one for him as lead singer. This is one of, I don't know if they're groupies or what, but they're called the Shadow Dolls. His is Shadow Beat Ritual. Based out of Washington or Vegas. I can't remember. I think I sent them to Washington, but I think they do most of their music out of Vegas. So, so what happens after this part is I fold them up. Boop, 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 boop. I glue them together. And then, actually, before I do that, I make sure all the folds are good. And then I go through and put the windows in, which this isn't cleaned up. I have to clean all these windows up. And then I tape the windows in, fold them up, glue them together. And then I have to cut the boxes that the pops go in. So the inserts, I find an insert that looks like it'll fit, which most times I'm pretty good at that. So I may have to make a few alterations, find that, put the figure in. Then I bought this pack of little clear rubber bands to hold them in place while they are in shipment. And then I actually use tape to hold the container together. So that way, even if the rubber bands do loose, the container doesn't come loose. So that way they will still stay in place. And then I slide that container inside the box. And then I put that box inside a pop protector. And then I put my sticker on it. And then I box it up and ship it. So my least favorite part of my job is doing these. It is very time consuming, and I feel a trained monkey could do it. It's not artistic. It just involves me doing stupid folding of paper. But it's it's cool to see the product finished. So at the same token, while I hate doing it, I also love doing it because I get to see a finished product. So, but thank you for joining me, guys. Subscribe to my channel if this is your first time. Even if it's your second time and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Say Jennifer Love Hewitt. I'm going to put you up right here. Like this video, give it a thumbs up, and hit the bell so you guys get alerted whenever I do anything and put up some new stuff. And this is something else that's cool I got. It holds all my stuff. So these are the current brushes I've been working with lately. My favorite sculpting tool, I have like 10 sculpting tools, and this is my favorite one. As you can tell, it's beat to crap. Little pieces of Sculpey all over it, paint, but it is by far the best sculpting tool. But these are the current brushes I've been working with, and my main sculpting knife. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining me. Like I said, I had a great time. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I hope to talk to you guys soon. Next video I will be doing, I'm not sure, because I'm going to do a Q&A that I'm going to post before this. So, all right, guys, thank you for joining me. Take care. Bye.